Silas, the newest hero, is awesome and can do some crazy stuff in Chimps mode, so I decided to go on to some tough maps and see what Chimp strategies I can make. I'm just going to be trying out a whole bunch of stuff, and because obviously Silas is a new hero, I don't really know what's the best. This is just going to be some experimenting and not definitive strategies to copy or whatnot. But I am going to get some good things in these few videos coming up, so you definitely could take some inspiration from them. The first strategy is going to be a total transformation strategy, and this was recommended by somebody, and this is because that you can have ice monkeys buffed up and the buffs will inherit to the total transformation. Famously, this works best on druids. On Ouch Chimps, I did a run a few months back, I think, where I got 73,000 cash spare with TT5 Oban druids, which is absolutely insane. So I don't think it will be beating that. I did a run with Brickle that got about 50,000 cash spare. Ninjas will get somewhere in between that. So I'm going to see if using Silas and the Absolute Zero and all the benefits we get in between will buff up the Ice Monkeys, that we can beat Ouch Chimps for a cheaper cost than that. So we're looking like somewhere around 50,000 cash spare. Initially, I had pretty big doubts in this one. There just really isn't enough pierce and damage. With Brickle, you would ramp up the pierce as well as the damage pretty easily, but here, not so much. Things just seem like it can get very difficult very fast, particularly on 98. But Silas does have some good abilities that might be able to help with that, so we'll see. Moving along into the game, I was kind of dreading this part, saving up for the total transformation with nothing much to help out with. I went for just a destroyer and an alk buff, and that's really all we're going to have. The other towers like that Moab shove is crucial for stalling later, so we're going to have that by default. It's going to help a lot, but it's not going to help much because this thing is expensive, and Silas isn't really going to be doing a whole lot in the mid game. I'm going to be honest. That level 10 ability can definitely do some work, but the other two abilities, because I don't have an ice spam, the second ability is not going to be doing much, and the level 3 just alone, Silas isn't really doing a crazy amount of damage, so nothing too strong for our mid game. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a push, a lot of micro, a lot of ability timing. I have that one Arctic Wind, which is, no, it's a snowstorm here. That snowstorm is going to help out greatly, and I'm just going to keep pushing along. Now, this is where I did make one mistake, so it's kind of important to note, looking at the end result, kind of some of the mistakes that I might have made, and that is that I got 042 on that Arctic wind or snowstorm later on, and I didn't actually really realize that until late game when I had my absolute zero up and it was an 052, not a 250. That's a pretty big deal because 250 will give the 25% slow to reslowed targets, which definitely helps out a lot. Not so much on like 95 and 99, but on stuff like 98. This also, if I realized this earlier and went for the right cross path, this would make this mid game even harder. I still believe it would be possible, it's just that I'd have to get more lucky and more micro. All of that fun stuff that is not fun to deal with. So TT5 runs are always like really fun in the late game, unless you have a hard 97 stall, then that's very not fun. But besides that, it's always very fun in the late game with frequently very annoying and difficult mid game trying to save up to this thing early enough. For black borders, if you're using TT5, which is definitely a very cool choice if you pull that off, I'd question your sanity a little bit and then say you're really cool for using TT5 for a black border. But if you're using that for a black border, there's like a bunch of things you can do to kind of have like a mid game carry and then just go into TT5 for like 84 and then onwards. But when I'm getting cash spare, all that stuff has to get cut out, so we're doing none of that junk and we're going straight for the hardcore save up. So I end up getting the TT5 there on round 79, and now I can just stall. And I was thinking this was just going to be bad, but it was actually going pretty good. Even without the AZ up yet, all these rounds were just being shredded. Because I remember the Brickle Ice one, like I was struggling to 84 and that kind of stuff, but I get the AZ up like nothing's moving. So we are set and we are moving. We've got a pretty good setup on our hands right here. Now going into the late game, I'm not going to be getting more than the, the Oban Druids, of course. That's just kind of far past that, but I will still be getting a decent amount spare if I don't really have to spend much of anything else. I end up getting a Moab glue, which you will see later ends up being a mistake technically, but not really in the moment, because that was a pretty good and effective way of beating around 95, plus will help on stuff like 98, and with 100 having the glue strike, that should be able to go down pretty easy. 96 was nice and easy, no difficulties there. You just keep spamming AZ and Silas's ability and those rounds just go absolutely nowhere. Now 97, this was the annoying round. I was trying to stall this out, but I just could not get the stall. As you can see, the stall got killed and I ended up going with that, which was kind of unfortunate. I feel like I might have been able to push a cheaper solution out for 98, but I just wasn't able to get anything that was good enough, and I ended up having to really just go for a second absolute zero, which is a lot cheaper because of Silas, but this was still very expensive. And after testing, I saw I wasn't able to even beat 100, so I would have needed the second AZ to get better uptime on the buff for the ice monkeys to even beat 100 and beat 99. This basically means buying that Moab glue was completely useless, because I would have just had a second AZ that would have solved all of that issues, and it didn't help against 100. So when it came to 100, I then had the damage now with all of this to be able to take it out. But having to buy that second AZ way late in the game was a little bit breaking. Only 30,000 cash spare. That's what doing something like that will do to you. If I could cut that Moab glue and maybe another upgrade or so, it would be a little bit more, like 34,000, 35,000, but yeah, it's pretty tough. Overall, even with my few mistakes, this was not a very good run, not a good strategy. It just doesn't hold up because it went through everything very easy, but 98, unlike Oben and Brickle, you don't have Pierce.
Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!